everybody. I'm the Spaceman. Welcome to a cigar, coffee, and rant. This is a new thing I'm going to be doing. Not just a rant, but cigar, coffee. Well, I always have my cigar and coffee usually anyway. So, what am I PO'd about tonight? Banks and overdraft fees. I'm sure plenty of you have received one of these little notices in the mail. Insufficient funds. I had it here somewhere. I don't know what. I threw it out. So, there's options for this, okay? When you have an account. So, every now and then, we botch things up. We're human, right? So, either we misfigure on our checking account register, or somebody debits us where we signed up for an automatic payment method, and perhaps we forgot that we were going to be debited once a year in the middle of February, right? I'm sure it's happened to other people. I'm not the only one, right? Unless you're loaded, you're Bill Gates or you're somebody else that has a ton of money in the bank and you can afford to pay these kind of fees, right? So, out of the blue, my bank whacks me. Okay, this is a financial institution, right? Whacks me $36 insufficient funds. I went to the bank and said, how do I keep this from happening? He's like, well, you can opt in for paying the item or you can opt out. She didn't tell me that I was still going to get an insufficient funds charge when they welched on the payment, or they fudged and they said, no, we're not paying it. Yeah, I should have read the fine print. You know what? Who reads the fine print? It's like the Webster's Dictionary. I mean, you're gonna read that. You read them. You get the terms of service things all the time, and every app you download, every program. What are you gonna do? You're gonna go to school, law school, and you're gonna sit there or become a CEO or an accountant or some bullshit like this and read all that malarkey, right? I just go down and click accept terms and services, because if you don't, you ain't getting the app, or it ain't gonna work for you. So I opted out. So they didn't tell me that they were still gonna zap me with this fee, and the fee's $36, not $5, not $10, like a normal human being should be charged, right? Look, I understand it was my fault, okay? But $36? What are we talking about here? Financial institution or the mob? Come on. The banks are like Jesse James without the guns and holsters, for crying out loud. So, I called the bank up. I told him I explained the situation. I asked to speak to a supervisor. I explained the whole thing, so she takes the fee off. About 5 days later, I look on my account, because I'm always checking my account constantly like a hawk. I'm like a rooster, going on my phone all the time, checking my balance, checking everything. I keep track of all this, right? 5 days later, here comes another one, $36. I'm like, what? Again? So I called the bank up. I called the lady, I says, what's going on here, right? And she's like, well, I said, what did you do? Put the fee back on that they took off when I went over to the bank? I spoke to a supervisor. She's like, no, the company that attempted to debit you has resubmitted your charge again. After I called the company and told them to return it and told them to reverse it, I'm not interested in paying this for this program. They turn around and they forward it again and try to put it through again. Man, was I pissed off. So I said, I've got the bank on the phone. I'm going to get the bank, the company. All three of us are getting on the phone and we're going to figure this one. We're going to talk this one out, right? Negotiation, right? So we come to the conclusion that because I paid for it through PayPal, it was PayPal's fault. So now they're blaming it on PayPal. So I call PayPal. The lady from PayPal explains the whole thing about insufficient funds, forwards the bank an email, forwards an email to me, and then says to me, forward this to the bank. So I get the lady on the phone, and she said, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what PayPal did. It doesn't matter what email you got. She's reading me this whole terms of service and policy thing. I said, I don't want to hear all this. Just take the thing off, or I'm going to take my money out and move it to a different bank, right? All right, look, like I said, I know it's my fault. I screwed up. We all screw up sometimes, right? But $36, I get that's what they charge you for a minor traffic violation if you get a ticket. I mean, what is this here? So, anyway, we turn around, and I say, all right, I'm gonna accept it, and this is the way all the banks are anyway. So even if I move my money to another bank, it's still going to be the same thing, right? But now listen to this one. A couple of years ago, I had a charge on there because the way their policy was, if you speak to a person, you call the automated service number, speak to an operator, more than 2 times in 1 month, you get charged $2 for speaking to this person, for hearing them flap their jaws, right, in your ear, and nothing ever gets done, right? $2. So what do? I had 3 accounts. They go to an account that was extremely low on funds, and they debit that account. They attempt to debit that account instead of the account that has the sufficient funds in it, and they zap me with a $36 fee. I nearly hit the ceiling, right? I don't know about you, but that's just plain crooked, okay? So I guess now they changed that policy. They're not charging people to talk to them on the phone. I mean, who do they think they are, right? So anyway, back in the old days, like the 70s and the 80s, you took your money, you put it in the bank, and you made money from your money. You said they use my money to loan out. I'm making money. I'm making interest. So now the way it is that you can't do that unless you have to maintain a constant balance of a certain amount of money in order to get interest. And the interest is like peanuts, okay? It's like sawdust. And then when it goes below that for a certain amount of time, you get a $5 fee. So you're not making anything off your money. You might as well put it under your pillow or put it in the closet in a box, in a shoe box, or in a safe, right? So this is where we're at, right? Banks. Insufficient funds. It's a circus. Is this, are they really a legitimate financial institution, or is it a criminal organization? I mean, what are we dealing with here? The mob or a bank? It's just extortion. Anyway, leave your comments down in the trash can. Feel free to say whatever you want, and I'll check them out. And I'll see you next time.